Hi all, welcome to BIAS Academy. In chapter 1, we are starting with another topic, that is human values. In this topic, we will discuss human values, definition of human values, and different types of human values like your personal values or societal values. So different values, right? Okay, so let us look at human values. So have you seen this movie Judua? Most of you might have seen it, or some of you might have seen the recent Hindi movie as well. Okay, if we see, one Salman Khan is an aggressive character, other Salman Khan is a calm guy, right? And they are siblings, but they don't have the same character. So similarly, in our home, if your brother and sister, or your brother, younger brother, elder brother, or younger sister, elder sister might not have the similar nature. Why? Can you tell me, think of the answer? One could be a saint, one could be a criminal, one could be most generous, one could be most conjuice. The fundamental difference is the value, it is the value they value in their lives. For example, in government organizations, like some officers value power, whereas some value money, some value service. Like Ashok Kemka, who was transferred 55 times in his 15 years of service, he valued service. And while others value honesty, while others value integrity. For example, if you see school children or young children, some of them respect their parents, while some don't. Some yell at their parents. Some students study very hard, while others like to play, they don't like to read. Some are honest, some lie. So what is the fundamental difference? The difference is in the value system. Then how do you get these values? We get these values from parents, family, society, culture, nation, and some are innate within us. We by ourselves have some certain qualities. Okay. Now, before looking at the definition of human value, let us look at the definition of value. Is diamond valuable? Is friendship valuable? Is your loyalty valuable? Then what is this value? Is it price? Or is it an estimate? As per American philosopher and a psychologist, his name is John Dewey, he said, value means primarily to price, to esteem, to appraise, to estimate. That is it, to estimate the price, that is value. What does it mean? It means that cherishing something, holding it close. Let us say there is a diamond, you have a diamond. So you hold it very close to you. Or you love your sister, you hold her very close to you. So it is nothing but a degree of importance, or degree of importance of something or some action. So the famous, the quote which I always quote regarding to value is, value has a value when you value it. Let us say somebody gave you a book. Let us say your optional is, you are writing ethics. Or let us say somebody gave you a Yojana or a India yearbook. So if you are a civil servant aspirant, you will read it, take it very carefully, keep it close to you. You will read the index, read the entire book, underline, extract important points. But if you give the same book to a normal degree student who is studying degree, would he value the same book in the same fashion as a civil servant aspirant values? No, he does not. That means the book has a value when you value it, or relationships have a value when you value it. Right? You understood, right? So value is nothing but a degree of importance. Now coming to the topic. What are human values? The degree of importance attached to human qualities. Like, what are human values? Example, truth, honesty, loyalty. These values are called human values because they bring fundamental goodness of human beings. So any value which brings goodness in you, in me, in the society at large, are human values. Example, which value brings goodness in me? Love. peace, honesty, truth, all these are human values. So any value which brings goodness of human beings and which brings goodness in society are called human values. Classical example is peace, love, honesty, truth. So these are human values. Now let us look at a quotation. Economic growth and human development need to go hand in hand. Human values need to be advocated vigorously. It is given by Kailash Satyarthi. You can see here he is Kailash Satyarthi. He is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. He gave this quote. What is this quote? Economic growth and human development needs to go hand in hand. How will economic growth and human development go hand in hand? When human values are advocated and when human values are promoted vigorously, rapidly. What are these human values? Love, peace, honesty, empathy, sympathy, fairness, compassion. Okay? And there are different types of human values. There are universal values, values which are similar in USA, Russia, India, China. And some are local, some are different from place to place. Some are situational values, some are sustainable values. And personally, you might have certain values. Your friend might have different values. Those are personal values. Cultural values might be different. In Rajasthan, people might have different cultural values, whereas in China, they might have different cultural values. There are some are positive and negative. Some are within and out, intrinsic and extrinsic values. Some are absolute and relative values. So in your mains exam, try to draw this diagram. Types of human values: emotion, feelings, love, responsibility, respect, sympathy, compassion, dignity, integrity. All these you can draw these diagrams in your mains answers. Right. What are the certain universal values? Universal human values. These values are subjective. They change from country to country because of the religion, geography, culture. But some are universal across length and breadth of the globe, like equality, honesty, being thankful, truthfulness, faithfulness, having patience, tolerance. Patience in Africa, South Africa worked out, patience in India worked out for freedom movement. Classical example of tolerance: Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela. Gratitude, trust, discipline, fairness, love, peace, justice, compassion. Compassion of Mother Teresa worked in India. Compassion of great leaders also work in other countries. So the universal values, these are universal human values. There are certain local values as well. Can you think of some examples? Some communities eating non-vegetarian is a sin. In some communities it is okay to eat, they are happy to eat non-vegetarian. In some regions, alcoholism is good in a society. In some regions, alcoholism is a ban. It is bad in society. Some celebrate, drink. So their eating habits, they vary, and the consumption of intoxicants vary. Marriage traditions, family values, respecting elders, casteism. It's a local value. Dressing modestly or liberally. Okay. There are some other values which are situational and sustainable values. Some values are a product of a given situation. Your values might change from situation to situation. Let us say you have a meal with you. You have seen a hungry person and then you want to share your meal, or you want to give it part with your meal. Let us take another situation where you are not given food for the last 10 days. And you have meal with you. At the same time, you see another person who has not eaten for the past 20 days. Now, would you share your meal? The probability is less. So, some values change as per the situation. Right? Okay. And there are certain sustainable values, like values which are sustainable for generations. Can you think of an example? Situational values are opposite to sustainable values in general. For example, a banker who gives a loan to someone he knows who is unable to make payments over time is acting based on situational value. So let us say there is a bank manager who gave loan to a person who's by knowing the fact that he will not be able to pay, but this act of giving the loan by the banker is based on situational value, not on sustainable value. People who are inspired by the sustainable values act in opposite. They act in the interest of the customer, they act in the interest of the employer, they act in the interest of the environment, in the interest of the country, they act in the interest of the suppliers, or they consider about future generations. Okay, there are certain other values like personal values. So good for you, beauty for your friend might be different. Usefulness for you might be different, whereas usefulness for your friend might be different. Let us say I give you a book of CSAT book to practice book. You are good in maths. For you, this book might not be useful. Let us say your friend who is not so strong in maths, I give the CSAT practice book. For him, this is very useful, right? And beautiful, desirable, constructive, beneficial, all these are personal values. They have an internal reference. These values influence the choices made by the individual. Okay? For example, in a society, if there is a conflict between personal value, what will happen? There will be a clash in the society. Okay, there are cultural values like values of a society. These cultural values can be identified by examine the level of honor and respect received by various groups. There was untouchability being practiced in Indian society earlier. Now it is at some minimal pockets. Whereas there is no untouchability practiced in America. At the same time, there was slavery. Right? For example, in India, people value government jobs than private jobs. These are cultural values. In India, most of the parents encourage their children to become doctors and engineers. These are cultural values. These cultural values are mostly not static, they keep changing. Right? Earlier it was about the society, now it is about self. There are certain positive and negative values as well. While we are reading these different values, there are different types of values which will help you in answering your answers. Can you think of positive values? Being faithful, being honest, being truthful. These are positive values. What are negative values which are opposite to it? What is opposite to being truthful? Lying. Opposite to honesty? Corruption. Opposite to faithfulness? Unfaithful. These are negative values. There are other values which are intrinsic and extrinsic. What are they? If you help somebody for the sake of glory, fame, at the same time you feel unhappy inside, that is an extrinsic value. If you do for outside image thing, those are extrinsic values. If you are happy within, at the same time you help others, these are intrinsic values. And there are other values which are relative ethical values and absolute values. Absolute they hold universal moral code. They are final. Whereas relative values, they change from time to time. Okay, let's look at a mains question. What according to you is the most important human value? Why? Substantiate. So you understood the question? What according to you is the most important human value? Why? Substantiate. Okay, write about 3 to 4, take 78 human values and write the answer. The format as introduction, body, conclusion. In the introduction, write the definition of human value. You can draw the diagram as well and start with a quotation. Come to the body, write any relevant theories, your real life examples, diagrams, and finally conclude. Conclusion should be positive. Let us look at this conclusion. You can write like this: with the determined practice of tolerance along with other human values, we can realize the goal of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So that's how you can end your answer. Okay. With this, let me end this lecture. Let us meet in the coming classes.